You've tuned into The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the city of St. Augustine works, from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Manager, Melissa Wissel, The Break Room offers a closer look at the city's programs and provides updates on current and upcoming projects. And now, your host for The Break Room, Melissa Wissel.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Melissa Wissel, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. This week on The Break Room, we're going to continue our conversation about hurricane season. I've invited St. Augustine Fire Chief Carlos Aviles back to the studio, and we also have a very special guest joining us, St. Johns County Emergency Management Director, Linda Stoughton. Carlos, welcome back. And Linda, we are so glad to have you with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Melissa, and good afternoon to you guys.
Hurricane season is underway, starts June 1st.
It starts June 1st, ends November 30th, so now's the time to get prepared.
And this idea of a season, it's not like the Christmas season or the Easter season or a holiday season. It's a long season.
When we take a look at where we live in Florida as a peninsula, we are very vulnerable to hurricanes and tropical cyclones. So hurricane season, they started naming that season back in 1965.
Oh, wow.
And so now we have what we know today as the June 1st and November 30th hurricane season.
And our best advice getting started is have a plan, know your evacuation zone, all those good good reminders.
Right. Now's the time to put together your family plan, know where you're going to evacuate to, know if you live in an evacuation zone. So we always say know your zone.
Right.
Have that family plan as to where you're going to go if you need to evacuate, whether it's a friend's house, a hotel, or as last resort, a shelter or an evacuation shelter. We also say to prepare your home. And then we kind of fold into the insurance. Make sure you have insurance and flood insurance and those type of things too. So now is the time to get prepared.
And insurance isn't always just for the flooding. I mean, there's a lot of people think that I don't need insurance if I'm not going to flood, but you can have other kind of damage.
Right. Yeah. No, there would be different types. You know, typically your homeowner's policy would not cover flooding. You would need a separate flood insurance plan. So we do encourage everybody to enroll in the National Flood Insurance Program if you're not a member of that now. Right. A really good way to determine whether you should be a member of the National Flood Insurance Program is to look at your driver's license.
Okay.
If it says that you are in the state of Florida, it is a really good idea to be a member of the National Flood Insurance Program.
I was waiting for something on my driver's license, like, ooh, what do I need to go look for?
Everybody should be enrolled in the program. You just don't know.
Right.
I mean, you know, we even over the last few weeks with the heavy rains, we've already seen Black Creek and McCoy Creek rising. So you don't know. You don't have to live immediately along the coast to be impacted by it. It's a good idea for everybody to have that.
Everybody should have it.
Right.
So far this season, we've had 3 named hurricanes or storms.
That's correct.
And any ideas of, I mean, it's not like we are not meteorologists, but you never know.
So they give us, at the beginning of each hurricane season, the educational colleges and NOAA give us predictions and forecasts. So those are planning numbers for us. Okay. And they let us know if it's going to be an above average, an average, or below average year. So what they have come out with this year, it could be above average year with 16 named storms, 8 potential hurricanes, 4 of those being major as a category 3 or above. But everybody needs to keep in mind it only really takes one to impact Northeast Florida. Well, they will be impacted with their homes, their businesses, and their lives. So we need to be prepared whether it's a busy season or a slower season.
Right. We always want to be prepared. And we've seen it here, obviously.
We have. We've had quite a history in the last couple of years, starting in 2016 with Hermine, and then Matthew, Irma, Dorian, and then Michael in the Panhandle, which many of us did respond to assist them because they came over and assisted us during Matthew. So we have a great mutual aid system set up in the state of Florida to do that.
They still have a lot of rebuilding to do in the Panhandle from Michael.
I would imagine it was a bit unnerving watching Cristobal come kind of in that gulf.
I'm sure for those folks in the Panhandle especially.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you start to see those first and you go, oh, okay, I need to start paying attention. Linda, you were mentioning the relationships of the response of us, the city of St. Augustine, the county, our area responding over to the Panhandle, other folks helping with us. Talk to us a little bit about something Carlos and I were talking about is the city. We have our own response internally within our city limits, but as a city within the county, we really have a really strong relationship with emergency management and the Emergency Operations Center. Talk to us a little bit about what you've seen in the years that you've been here with the county.
Absolutely. The partnerships that we have ahead of time are really, really important to our success in responding and the recovery part of any disaster, whether it's a hurricane or a wildfire or most recently COVID-19. Mm. So the Emergency Operations Center activates. Our partner agencies have seats inside the Emergency Operations Center. We share resources, we share information, we share technology, and it makes for a stronger community and a stronger response. So we bring all that together, all those subject matter experts, and our job is to take care of home. Mm-hmm. Whether you're in the city, whether you're in the county, whether you're in an outlying rural area, it's to take care of home and try and meet the needs and the unmet needs of our community. So we all work really well. One thing we always say in the EOC is emergency management's a team sport. Mm-hmm. We can't do it alone. It takes everybody working together and going in the same direction to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that nobody is harmed and that they can come back to their businesses and their lives.
It's a really a fascinating machine to be a part of it. I've been in the headquarters during the storms, and it's really something to see, and particularly to witness in the aftermath and the recovery. It's not just the lead up. You were mentioning responding. We've had COVID. We've had COVID-19. What do you see as being some of the challenges, or Carlos, either one of you, how this is impacting our collective preparation?
So there were a lot of challenges, I will say. I think one was time. Mm-hmm. We're very accustomed to these situations requiring a massive ramp up and then prolonged operations, for 10 to maybe 14 days, and after that, things really start to quiet down. So the goal of emergency management ultimately is to put ourselves out of business.
Okay.
Right? If we can really quell all of these issues, there should be a point where things stabilize and we don't need to be stood up in that posture any longer. And so time, I think, was one of them.
I think modeling.
Modeling
was certainly a challenge early on.
It was. Because we just didn't know. There were so many unknowns, and
it was novel. The scientific information was coming out, almost changing hourly, daily, every other day. It still is.
Well, and we joked, not really, but joked about there was no cone of certainty with COVID. You can watch that path of the storm come, and you can wait for it to shift or move, but there was no cone of certainty other than waiting to see what these numbers were going to do. Mm-hmm. But we didn't even really know what that meant.
Right. And so one of our partner agencies is Flagler Hospital, and they started taking all the information from the education network and the CDC and all these people that were doing modeling private industry and used those different models to make it work for Flagler Hospital and built a model right on the boards in the EOC. And then every day they would do their modeling for us and let us know where they fell on their spectrum. And the best news is they never exceeded their capabilities in any way, shape, or form. So that was great for us inside the EOC and really gave us a sense of confidence as to the planning was working. Right. But we are used. You talk about the cone of uncertainty. Carlos and I are in those meetings. Melissa, you've been in those meetings, and every 6 hours they hand us a really good advisory.
Right.
And we didn't have that with this, and we're watching globally what's happening.
As much as we wanted it.
Yes. As much as we wanted it
more than anything, right? I mean, so we're just very accustomed to give us this worst case scenario, tell us what the highest probability impacts are, and then we do all of our planning accordingly.
Exactly.
We had a difficult time getting that.
And we also had a little bit of a change in, I don't want to call it leadership per se, but Department of Health was sort of our lead agency. Is that true?
Right. Yes.
Emergency management was there, but it was just a very different dynamic.
So pandemics, epidemics, any type of biohazards, those type of things, or the Department of Health as the lead agency. So the state surgeon general. Right. And then it was, I think, pretty discovered early on that you couldn't do it alone without a unified command system. And we saw emergency management, we saw the state fire marshal's office, all these different state agencies start coming together saying, hey, this is bigger than one agency. We're going to have to do a unified approach to push information down to the counties, down to the cities, and make sure that they have what they need. And then the CDC played a big role coming out with guidelines and postures that people should be taking.
Right.
And also the governor through executive orders.
Right. And then
gave us a lot of information.
And then we found ourselves back with emergency management. You guys are great. Let me take a quick moment here to just let folks who are tuning in that you are listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. Thank you for tuning in. This week in studio, we're still talking about hurricane season with St. Augustine Fire Chief Carlos Aviles. And we also have with us St. Johns County Emergency Management Director, Linda Stoughton. Linda, before we get too far out, I also want to congratulate you after Matthew in 2017. You were named Emergency Manager of the Year by the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association. So I want to make sure to congratulate you on that. That was quite an experience.
It was an honor. And once again, emergency management is that team sport. And the award should have gone to the complete Emergency Operations Center for the hard work, because it takes about 200 of us during Matthew to work our way through that event. So
we are very blessed as a community here to have that team of dedicated professionals up there really working around the clock to help manage these types of disasters.
You guys do great work, and it makes it, I don't want to say easier for us, but it does make our jobs as the communicators, when there is a unified team ready to push out that unified message. That's one of the biggest things I think that we came out of Matthew with. What do you see, talking about messaging, any little insights you can give us as to what we might be looking at that might be a little different for us this season? Things, and it may be too early to tell yet. I know you have things that come down from higher on levels.
So we have to take a look at hurricane season with COVID-19 and adjust planning for that. So the Emergency Operations Center, along with our partner agencies, State of Florida, the CDC, have come down with guidelines on what sheltering will look like. Social distancing is going to be very important. So we may have to use additional spaces inside the shelters, and also additional shelters. Traditionally, we use 6 to 8, like we did for Matthew and Irma. So we may have to expand that. So we're working through all those steps now to make sure that everybody can be social distance, that we have the proper sanitation inside, hand sanitation stations, thermometers, masks, and isolation rooms. So if somebody is showing signs of being ill, we can separate them. So we're working through all those policies now inside the shelter, and also with transportation, because the school district and Council on Aging do our transportation for our public that need that transportation to the shelter. So instead of putting people on the bus where we have every seat filled and maybe every other seat, they'll meet those social distancing guidelines on the buses. So we're working through all that right now to create an operational plan. So we're having a partner meeting next week to walk through those decision points, and then we'll have an operational plan that we can practice, work through, and be ready.
Carlos, anything else?
No, I think you covered all of it. It's a lot. I mean, it's
it
a
is.
lot of things. I mean, lately just seems like we're piling more and more stuff onto ourselves, but it's just the times.
It is
right?
what it
like
is,
this is what we do.
Right.
So.
Right.
I've said often to my peers, you guys as well, saying it's like a 3-month hurricane exercise.
It
feels
is.
like it.
And we
feels like
missed our hurricane exercise this
We
year.
did. Those are some of the disappointments that come with COVID-19. And I know our community, they did a great job following the COVID-19 guidelines and executive orders. And people are very excited that we're now in phase 2 so that they can move about the community and still maintain social distancing and things. But we did have to postpone some important events, like the hurricane training exercise, the hurricane conference, the annual conference for the first time in its history of over like 34 years that we've had to postpone that. But the time we spent with COVID, we've learned a lot. We've also learned what it's like to be in an emergency operations center with not 100 people. We've had to learn to use more technology, use Zoom. I can't necessarily walk across the room and say, hey, Carlos, I have this problem. We have to set up those conference calls.
Right.
The EOC was designed to protect all of us.
Right.
It was designed to protect us from hurricanes, tornadoes. It couldn't protect us from COVID. So we also had to use all the social distancing inside for food, our meetings, how many people are allowed inside at a time. All those things will carry through hurricane season. So we have purchased additional satellite phones. If people are going to be housed off site from the Emergency Operations Center, the one thing that's very important, and Carlos will back me up on this, that always is a challenge during any disaster is communications. Yep. We have to be able to maintain communications between ourselves and our partner agencies in the state of Florida to get those resources.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you, the general public doesn't, I don't think at times appreciate or understand the massive effort that is going on that is, just completely seamless. Folks don't see it. It's invisible to them. But emergency management is just a machine.
It is.
That works 24/7 with all of the thousands of missions that pop up statewide, and jurisdictional boundaries are erased. This isn't my equipment anymore. It's the public's equipment.
Ours,
Whoever needs it, we're going to lend it to them.
Yep.
And if need be, we'll send personnel as well. And so, to watch that system in action, when it's needed, is just phenomenal.
And we are fortunate to be a part of that solution and to have that partnership.
Absolutely. No, like I say, we're very, very blessed in this community to have the safety net that we do.
And I think our leaders at every level here in St. Johns County has made it a priority. The city's made it a priority. Carlos, Melissa, you're both assigned to the Emergency Operations Center in different roles. The county has built an Emergency Operations Center. We've built planning. So it's very much a priority. But we do have that 42 miles of Atlantic coastline that stares at us every day. That is a huge concern, especially this time of year. So,
Linda, thank you so much for coming and talking with us today. I feel good that we are in good hands with emergency management, and we definitely appreciate all the work that you and the team over there do. We're going to wrap up this edition of the Break Room, and I want to make sure that everyone is tuning in. We want to keep you informed about what's happening in and around the city, and most importantly, that you hear it from the people doing the work and making it happen every day. Remember that in order to stay connected, you need to be connected, especially during hurricane season. Like us and follow us on any of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City St. Aug. Thank you for tuning in.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program about projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. We hope you'll join us each week as host Melissa Whistle and her guests have a conversation that helps you better understand how our city works to meet the needs of our community. See you next time on The Break Room.